Naomi, the grand-grandmother of King David. Do you know Naomi? The story of Naomi is found primarily in the Book of Ruth, in the Old Testament of the Bible. Naomi is an Israelite woman from Bethlehem, married to Elimelech. They have two sons, Mahlon and Kilion. However, due to a famine in Israel, the family leaves Bethlehem and settles in the land of Moab, a region foreign to Israel's traditions and beliefs. Shortly after their arrival in Moab, Naomi's husband Elimelech dies, leaving Naomi a widow. Her two sons marry Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. However, about 10 years later, both Mahlon and Kilion also die, leaving Naomi without a husband or children. She then finds herself in an extremely vulnerable situation, without male support. Having heard that the famine in Israel is over, Naomi decides to return to Bethlehem. She asks her daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth, to stay in Moab and rebuild their lives by marrying new husbands. After emotional farewells, Orpah returns home, but Ruth refuses to leave Naomi. Ruth then declares one of the most famous statements in the Bible, expressing her unwavering loyalty to her mother-in-law. "Do not urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth 1:16. Upon arriving in Bethlehem, Naomi is filled with sorrow and bitterness. She tells the townspeople not to call her Naomi, which means pleasant, but rather Mara, which means bitter, as she believes God has afflicted her by taking her husband and sons. Ruth, full of devotion, decides to provide for Naomi by working in the fields. She gleans in the fields of a man named Boaz, a relative of Elimelech. Boaz notices Ruth and, impressed by her love and loyalty toward Naomi, shows her much kindness. Naomi, aware that Boaz could be a redeemer according to the laws of levirate marriage, a custom where a close relative could marry a widow to carry on the family name, advises Ruth to approach Boaz and ask him to fulfill this role. Boaz agrees and eventually marries Ruth. Through the union of Ruth and Boaz, Ruth gives birth to a son, Obed, who becomes the grandfather of King David, one of the most important figures in Israel's history. Thus, despite Naomi's trials and losses, she finds new joy and a new family, thanks to Ruth's loyalty and Boaz's kindness. Naomi ends up being blessed through the love of Ruth and the intervention of Boaz, becoming a key link in the lineage of King David and, by extension, in the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Did you know Naomi? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.